birthplace of the human race. A species much like our own, capable of great compassion and great violence. For in our quest to protect the humans, a deeper revelation dawns. Our worlds have met before.
The very first thing I always put in my backpack is my sleeping bag. And there are a few different reasons for that. One of the reasons is that you always want your lightest gear at the bottom of your backpack. A lot of people think your backpack should be like a grocery bag where you're trying to put like the heaviest items at the bottom and lighter weight stuff on top. You don't want to do that for your backpack. It's going to hurt your back. So the most common thing is to put your sleeping bag at the bottom because it takes up quite a bit of volume for not that much weight. It also is something that you're not going to need to use until the very end of your day and you're setting up camp. So there's no problem to keep it at the bottom of your backpack and you can just leave it there for your entire hike. So to finish off the bottom section of my pack, I would usually put in the other pieces of gear that I wouldn't need until I set up my sleep system at night. So that would include my base layer clothing, my sleeping pad, which is also relatively lightweight and I won't need when I'm hiking during the day. And finally, the sleeping bag liner, which I would also not use until the end of the day. After I have the bottom section, which is supposed to be lighter weight, completed, I would usually go to the middle section. The middle section is where you want your heaviest items. You not only do you want them in the middle, you want them to be as close to your back as possible. So usually what I would do is I would put adjacent to one another my earth sack, which is where I keep my food. And then right next to that, one of the other heavier, bigger items I have is my backpacking tent. and they would go side by side to one another. In addition to my food sack, I will usually put on top of that my stove system. That will usually just go right on top of my sack. And now the three heaviest items I might have, which in my case was the tent, the stove, and the sack, are in the middle, are closest to my back, and are going to be the most comfortable to carry on a 20-25 mile hike. After you have the middle section done, what you'll want at the very top are things that are maybe not as heavy as the middle section, but things that you'll want to maybe take out regularly or put back into your backpack throughout the day while you're hiking. So, for example, I would usually have my mid layer go above the sack, stove, and tent in my backpack. So at this point, when I've completed the midsection of my backpack, going to the top section with my lighter mid layer, what I would usually do is I would close up the backpack by pulling the drawstring and clicking in the brain. And for the final items of my kit, I would usually put them on the exterior pockets or in the brain of the backpack. So in this, which is arguably one of the most accessible sections of your backpack, I would put a few lighter weight items which I might want during the day. For example, my backpack ring. There are a few electronics I would take and put it in my brain. For example, my external battery charger, headphones, stuff that I might want to grab without having to unpack the whole backpack. A trowel. And I would usually do some small stuff like toiletries as well. So once the interior of the backpack is packed, that's when I would start using the external pockets. Those are really handy for something that you want to take out really quick or something that might be wet and you want to dry in the sun. A couple different things that I would keep in there. For example, I would have my water filter system usually here in the external pockets. Another thing that I would often keep on the outside here would be the Crocs that I use, which I cross rivers in as well as use as camp shoes. Those are great things just because you don't want, dirty, messy Crocs on the inside of your backpack. The final thing is hiking poles. These should not go in your backpack because they should be in your hands at all times.
Now I will explain to you how to load your stuff and things into your backpack. Okay. So as a general guide, you need to follow the rucksack packing. What is rucksack packing? Rucksack packing can be defined. You need to put first the biggest and heaviest stuff into your bag and then followed by the others. Alright. So there is two types of the trail: on trail and off trail. So for on trail is kind of like situation when you're walking at a flat path or ground or does not have many obstacle. So for this type of on trail, you need to separate your bag into two parts, the top and the bottom. So you need to put first the lighter items like the personal items such as a knife, tools, plate, spoon, foods, wet wipes, and other else. And then after you have done it, then you can put the heaviest and biggest item at the top of the bag. Okay. The type of the heaviest or biggest items such as the cooking equipment, your heavy jacket, the tent, mat, and other else. Okay. How to load your things or your stuff in off-trail situation. So off-trail situation is when you're walking at the ground that have many obstacles. kind of like when you're walking, jungle trekking and hiking. So the path is have many obstacles. So for this placement of the things, if you want to load your stuff into the bag, you need to reverse it. Okay, reverse it from the on trail. So you put the heaviest or the biggest item first into your bag, and then follow by the lighter items at the top of the bag. Now, I will explain to you about the advantages of properly loading your backpack. Alright, the first one is to encourage the neatness. So, different compartments can hold different items. This can discourage of mixing up many items under one compartment, and this can maintain the neatness of your stuff. The second one is proper and good storage. So, in different compartments, you can arrange your item according to your desire. If there is 4 different compartments, you can pack 4 different items according to their suitability. And this can assure one of a proper and good storage. So you can for the lighter item like personal tools, you can properly store. Next is it can save your time. Alright, when you're properly loading the backpack, you can save your time when you want to place the equipment according to the compartment. And this is very good because you have saved your time rather than messing up the placement of your stuff. And the last one, it can decrease the risk of pain problem. It is because when you have properly loading your backpack, you can decrease the force that you need to carry of your body, and you will feel more comfortable. So next, I will explain to you about the disadvantages of not properly loading your backpack. Alright, the first one is it can increase your pain problem. It is because if you improperly loading your backpack, you will carry more heavy force. Alright, as an example, when you going through the off trail, alright, you need to place your equipment according to the off-trail situations. So, if you not place properly, you will falling down easily. You will get neck problem, pain problem, and other injuries. It is because you have to carry the force from your stuff, and you need to against the force of the gravity. Alright. The second one is waste your time. It is because you will waste your time in adjusting the stuff until all the stuff can be kept on your backpack. Time is money. It is not worth if you spend too much time in adjusting your stuff, because you need to focus more to the other problems, other activities which are more important. And the last one is it can cause damage to the other equipment. So every compartment have their own suitability. When you're mixing up, like you put the heavy items and you're mixing up with the lighter items, the lighter items can be damaged easily. So at the end, you cannot use the lighter item because it has been broken and damaged. I give you an example. The first aid kit. Alright. So when the first aid kit have been damaged, it is really dangerous because the liquid has been leaked and exposed to the other surface of other equipment. So you need to properly arrange your equipment.